Hello, I'm Jason Scott, a co-founder of bundl.com.au. We created an infographic during the week called The Rise of the Electricity Bill and decided the best way to address comments and questions received about the infographic would be through a screencast. I am hopeful that this will give you a better understanding of some of the issues portrayed in the infographic. We created the rise of the electricity bill because electricity prices have increased quite dramatically in Australia over the past 4 to 5 years. These increases have led to consumer confusion and frustration, particularly when the price of electricity has increased to the point where it is now a considerable portion of household expenditure. The first section here shows what you can expect to pay in different parts of Australia and how much prices have increased in those areas over the past 3 years. As you can see, the Northern Territory and Western Australia were not included in this comparison. This is simply because we have only included states and territories that operate within the national electricity market. Western Australia and the Northern Territory operate their own independent electricity markets, making it hard to compare like with like. The yearly cost in each jurisdiction is based on what you would pay for 7,500 kilowatt hours peak power only. Clearly, the price you will pay will differ according to individual circumstances such as how much power you consume, whether or not you have off-peak power for your hot water, and several other factors. You will pay the most if you live in South Australia and considerably less if you live in the nation's capital, Canberra. New South Wales has experienced the greatest electricity price increase over the past 3 years, with 47%. Again, Canberra appears to be the most consumer-friendly, with prices only increasing 15% over the same period. When we take a closer look at New South Wales and Victoria, we see that they are broken down into distributor areas. In Victoria, there are 5 different electricity distributors that service a specific geographic area. Electricity retailers need to set different prices for each of these areas, meaning that the price you pay for electricity will differ according to where you live. You can expect to pay less for electricity if you live in Melbourne, particularly in the City Power and United Energy distribution networks, than if you live in other areas of the state. New South Wales has a similar, yet more pronounced disparity between the city and the country. If you live in Sydney, the Hunter, the Illawarra or the South Coast, you will on average be paying about $500 less than if you live in country New South Wales. This next section shows the variability of plans in each jurisdiction. The values from this graph were collected from the website of each state's regulator and do not include green plans. The price gap between the cheapest and most expensive plans is quite glaring, with over $1,000 difference for the Sydney, Hunter, Illawarra and South Coast areas of New South Wales. A considerable difference exists in each area, except for Brisbane and South East Queensland, where only about $200 separates the cheapest from the most expensive plans. It really does pay to shop around for electricity. The following section shows the breakdown of your average electricity bill both before and after the carbon tax. The data is from New South Wales, but you can expect other states to have a relatively similar breakdown. The main point here is that half of your electricity bill money actually goes towards network costs, which includes everything in the supply chain from getting electricity from the power plant to your home. The general public only have contact with their distributor when there are power supply issues, particularly blackouts. All other times, the public deals with their retailer, which accounts for around 10% of their electricity costs. The incoming carbon tax is expected to account for 8% of your electricity bill in New South Wales. The pie graph here shows how much electricity will be increasing come July 2012 in New South Wales. Out of the total 18.1% increase, about half can be attributed to network costs and the other half to the incoming carbon tax. Australia-wide, the carbon tax is expected to add an extra 1.45 cents per kilowatt hour to our electricity bill. This equates to $109 per year based on 7,500 kilowatt hour usage. The average household spend on electricity in Metro New South Wales is currently 4%, which increases to around 8% for low-income families. The following graph shows the number of people that switch electricity retailers in the 4 states. The number of people that switch retailers is a very good indicator of the competitiveness of the retail electricity market. Victoria is considered the most competitive market in the world, and this graph supports this with over 50,000 people switching each month. Victoria also has the highest rate of switching, with an annualised transfer rate of 28% for May. Although South Australia has the lowest volume of switches amongst the 4 states, they have a high annualised switching rate of 26%. Queenslanders tend to switch less than the other states, with only 15% electing to switch retailers each year. For further information on the electricity market, I recommend you check out the State of the Market Report 2011, published by the Australian Energy Regulator. This gives a great summary of many aspects of the electricity market, and a lot of the data in this infographic has come from here. Much of the electricity price increase data has come from an IPART report, Changes in Regulated Electricity Retail Prices from 1st July 2012. This report was released on the 13th of June 2012. If you live in New South Wales and want to understand how you will be affected by electricity prices in the near future, I highly recommend you give it a read. I hope you learned something from this infographic, and please feel free to ask any questions about this infographic or electricity prices in general. We are currently in the process of building a tool which allows you to compare your current electricity tariff with tariffs that we offer through bundl.com.au, so please check back soon for an update. Thank you and goodbye for now.